Good afternoon. It's going to start back on Granny Shares the Bible and chapter 33. I was going to begin, but I've been really thinking about Jacob and this angel, wrestling this angel. It says a man in Genesis, and in Hosea it says an angel. Let me go back over there to Hosea and read that, because it's a kind of a amazing thing to me. It says he took his brother by the heel in the womb, and by his strength he had power with God. Yea, he had power over the angel and prevailed. He wept and made supplication unto him. He found him in Bethel, and there he spake with us. He wept and made supplication unto him. That was after a colon, when it said that he had power over the angel and prevailed. It wasn't Jacob that wept, it was the angel that wept. From that colon, it was saying, what's following is talking about that, about prevailing. He wept and made supplication unto him. So when Jacob wrestled with the man, the angel, he said, I've seen God face to face. God, we don't even know all about it. It's hard to know about it. Well, it's just something hard to grasp. And I was thinking, this is just me as an author. I don't know if y'all know it, but I've written 3 books, and I've had to have an imagination on them. They're on Amazon if you want them. Laney's Promise, Willem's God, and Loria's Treasure. And I wrote them out of this and what I had knowledge of the Word. So I used both the truth of the Word and then making up things. Fiction. It's fiction. Well, here's my imagination about Jacob and about wrestling with that man. I can see the man, maybe Jacob's sitting by the campfire. He's by himself over there on the other side of the brook. Maybe he's sitting by the campfire, and a man walks up and he sees him, and he realizes this is not an ordinary man. In fact, something about him tells him that he is from heaven. And so instantly Jacob, who always was reaching after the heel of his brother, or wanting the birthright, wanting the blessing, he realized that this was an opportunity. This is my take on this, because I don't know. But I can just see him thinking, this is my opportunity to get a real blessing, get the blessing I really want. And I can see him saying, well, you're from heaven. How about giving me a blessing? And I can see that angel, that man, God, saying, come and get it. If you want it, come and get it. Flexing his muscles. And of course, Jacob wasn't a weakling. So the wrestling match was on. Can imagine it. I mean, it's amazing. It's like Jacob thought, well, if that's how I got to get the blessing in, I'm just going to wrestle him down. You know, I know that he probably wrestled with Esau when they were little kids. I mean, they were twins, and I'm sure they figured out all kinds of holes on each other. So here comes Jacob wrestling with this man, angel, God. And he wanted a blessing. So he wasn't playing, and neither was the angel. They weren't playing, and they didn't stop. And they wrestled and wrestled and wrestled all through the night. All through the night. Let me go, for the day breaketh. That's what the man or the angel said. And that was after he had touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh and gotten it out of joint. Ooh, he was hurting, but he's still holding on. Would not let go. Wanted that blessing. That's just my imagination about, God planned this wrestling match. Whoa! Yes, he did. He planned this wrestling match. He knew Jacob would come after it. The little baby that grabbed his brother's heel, he knew he'd come after it. And he knew it was going to be hard pressed for this man, this angel, God, to get him to let go of him. I've just enjoyed thinking about this. It's really amazing. That's just my imagination about how it happened. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to think, how could it happen? How did they get to wrestling? I thought, well, if Jacob was running after a blessing and that man said, come and get it, come and take it from me. If you want it, you got to take it from me. And really, the Bible says, what he asked, the angel said, well, let's talk about him saying, I will not let thee go except thou bless me. I will not let thee go except thou bless me. Did Jacob think it was God? Did he think he was just a man still? Did he think he was an angel? He'd seen angels coming up and down on that ladder. What did he think he was? It didn't matter right then. Because Jacob had him in the grip. Whatever kind of grip. He knew how to get a hold of somebody and they couldn't get loose. He had him in the grip. And the angel said, what is thy name? He said, Jacob. Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with God and with men, and hast prevailed. Hast prevailed. I wonder what God has planned for us. If he had a wrestling match planned for Jacob, he was about 60 years old, but he was still powerful. If he had a wrestling match, even if that was the weakest angel in heaven, could have been, God could have called the weakest angel in heaven and said, I got something for you to do now. I don't know. I know angels are powerful. I can imagine Jacob prevailing, but he did. He prevailed. So I've been thinking about it. I asked Lori about it. I asked Sister Carolyn about it. Just talking about it. It's so interesting, isn't it? To think about God planning this wrestling match with Jacob. Sometimes when you go through things and you get with God about them, it feels like a wrestling match, doesn't it? The devil tries to get you to let go. Tries to say it ain't never going to work. He'll never do that much for you. He'll try to get you to let go. But you come back and say, oh no. I believe you, Lord. You showed me this. You showed me too that you were going to do something. You haven't done anything yet. Do it. Do it. I'm going to hold on to you till you do, Lord. I'm not going to let you go. I may rest a few minutes, but I'm coming right back at you. Because I need what I've been asking you for. I need it. Jacob needed this blessing because Esau was coming with all those men. Now we'll start right there. I know I've spent some time on this, but it just got a hold of me. And that's what God wants His Word to do, is get a hold of you. And think about it. Meditate on it. Talk to others about it. Dream about it. Imagine what happened where the details are left out. Okay, chapter 33. This is after he halted on his thigh. He couldn't walk very well because of how the angel had touched his thigh and gotten it out of joint. He touched the hollow of Jacob's high thigh and the sinew that shrank. So he's limping now. And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 100 men. And he divided the children unto Leah and unto Rachel and unto the 2 handmaids. And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost. And he passed over before them, and bowed himself to the ground 7 times, until he came near to his brother. Verse 4. And Esau ran to meet him, and embraced him, and fell on his neck, and kissed him, and they wept. Woo! Woo! God was blessing him. What? Wasn't God blessing him? His brother ran to meet him, and embraced him, and fell on his neck, and kissed him, and they wept. You know, some of this wrestling could have also been a reminder of the closeness of those brothers at times, at some time. I don't think you can wrestle with somebody and not be near them. I mean, they're going to be sweating, you're going to be sweating, and you're going to be holding their arms, and they're going to be trying to get loose. And I'm sure if Jacob and Esau wrestled each other, which they probably did, there was that long night perhaps brought Esau back to Jacob's mind and brought their boyhood back. I don't know what happened to Esau. I don't know what he thought and why the 400 men were not to attack. I don't know. Perhaps the night before, while Jacob was wrestling with the angel or God or the man, Esau also was thinking on things. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children, and said, Who are those with thee? And he said, The children which God hath graciously given thy servant. Then the handmaidens came near, and they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near, and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near, and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, What meanest thou by all this drove which I met? And he said, These are to find grace in the sight of my Lord. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep that thou hast unto thyself. And Jacob said, Nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen thy face, as though I had seen the face of God, and thou wast pleased with me. Oh, isn't this beautiful? He swore he was going to kill Jacob. No. Again, when a man's ways please the Lord, and make even his enemies to be at peace with him. And Jacob said, Nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present in my hand. Receive it. Let me give it to you. For therefore I have seen thy face, as though I had seen the face of God, and thou wast pleased with me. My brother. Oh, my brother. My brother is pleased with me. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because God hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. And he said, Let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before thee. And he said unto him, My Lord knoweth that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds with young are with me. And if men should overdrive them one day, all the flock will die. Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before his servant, And I will lead on softly, according as the cattle that goeth before me, and the children be able to endure, until I come unto my Lord, unto Seir. And Esau said, Let me now leave with thee some of the folk that are with me. And he said, What needeth it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. So Esau returned that day on his way to Seir. God had taken care of it, hadn't he? I don't know how. All we're left to do is imagine what happened in Esau's life that made him love Jacob again. Might have been the night before, might have been 10 years before. And it might have been when he left home and Esau missed him. I don't know. But I thank God. Thank God for this part of God's Word. He wants you to know that there is help in your families. There is reconciliation. There is everlasting love. There is help always. Just keep seeking the Lord for it all. I'm going to go now. I've got a little portion of that chapter to read, but that tells the story there. And aren't we glad for Jacob and Esau? God bless you. See you Monday, Lord willing.